intent of this particular epistle is to remind the church at Colossus that they are overcomers in Jesus Christ. He wants to remind them that all you need to overcome is faith in Jesus, because Jesus is the only one we need for salvation. In fact, brothers and sisters, in his introduction to this letter, in what we read, these few verses in his introduction, he starts out by helping us to understand that we are overcomers. Touch your neighbor. Maybe they forgot the subject of this text tonight, and tell them we are overcomers. The first thing that I glean, yes, from this particular text is that Paul is trying to show us and teach us in this particular text that if we are going to be overcomers, there's a few things that we need to do. And the first thing that I see that Paul is trying to teach us from this text is that if we're going to be overcomers, we have to be consistent. It's right there in verse number 9. He says, for this cause we also, since the day we heard of it, what? Do not cease to pray for you. He says, since we learned about what's been going on in the church, we have not stopped praying that you would be filled with spiritual understanding. And the only way, brothers and sisters, for us to develop wisdom and spiritual understanding is that we be consistent. Touch your neighbor and tell him, be consistent. Paul tells the church at Colossus that ever since Timothy and I knew how much you love God, we have been consistently on our knees praying for you. And it is in this statement, brothers and sisters, that is revealed one of the problems in the modern church. And one of the problems in the modern church is that we ain't consistent. I knew I wouldn't get no amens right there. That's all right. We have become so hit or miss. We have become so wishy-washy. We have become so nonchalant. We have become so unimpressed and unimpressionable that we are not consistent. So we only show up when the choir that we like is singing. We only come when the preacher that we like is preaching. We only show up when Deacon so-and-so is teaching Bible study. But I came to tell you tonight, this afternoon, that if you're going to be what God has called you to be, you got to learn how to be consistent. Understand, brothers and sisters, that excellence is never achieved without consistency. Paul says, I have been consistently praying for you. Because I know that I've been consistently praying for you, because I know that you are going to be consistently tempted. And so I consistently pray to help fend off the consistent temptations. Don't look at me in that tone of voice. You know as well as I do that every now and then the devil's going to send some temptation our way. And we have to be able to pray to fend off the temptation. Paul says, I got to keep praying for you because you're going to be consistently tempted. And if we're going to grow, brothers and sisters, in God, if we're going to grow in his wisdom, if we're going to grow in the spiritual understanding, there's one thing that we have to understand and one thing that we have to do, and that is we got to keep showing up. Touch your neighbor and say, keep showing up. Woody Allen once said 80% of success is to show up. Understand, brothers and sisters, that we have to get a dogged attitude about us that says that I'm determined that regardless of what the devil throws my way, I'm going to keep showing up. Bible says, be ye steadfast and unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as you know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. Ushers, I know every Sunday you don't want to put on your white. Ushers, I know every Sunday you don't feel like standing back there at the door. Ushers, I know every Sunday you don't feel like helping folk, but there's a blessing if you just keep showing up. God has promised to give you a blessing. And so what I came to tell somebody is this, that regardless of whether they like you or not, keep showing up. When they smile at you, keep showing up. When they frown at you, keep showing up. When they congratulate you, keep showing up. When they stab you in the back, keep doors of the church are open. We offer Christ to you. If you're here without Jesus, what must I do to be saved? Believe on the Lord and you shall be saved. It's just that simple. It's not a game and it's not a gimmick. If you're here without Jesus, we offer Christ to you. If you're here and you're a backslider and you need to be restored to the Lord, we offer Christ. If you're here and you say, preacher, I've been checking this church out, Jerusalem Holy Church, and I want to be a part of Pastor Jackson's vision and what she's doing, what the Lord is allowing her to do in this area of the vineyard, we offer Christ to you.